Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today, since I made a video about the problems SCUM has, in my opinion, I would want to make a suggestion video about some ideas I have, which are purely based on my personal opinion, so if anyone disagrees with them, I'm totally fine with them, because not like the other videos I made, they're not based on like mathematical things, that's really just ideas I have. I would put it into three categories. First category is item value and the value of money, which are impacting the trader. Second thing is the food, especially when it comes to food production, and also the value of food. And the third thing is communication. Obviously. And they are all, like I set my ideas up to be like a big network of things that they all add up to each other, so that they in total can improve the necessity of player interaction. Nobody cares. Since I've read a few comments about player interaction being one of the most important things in a survival game, which is a argument I completely agree with. Okay, so coming to the first point, I would turn down the price for most of the items, so that it's harder to get money at all. And also add maybe some resources which can only be bought at the trader, so that money itself is not only worth for respawns and gold for respawning at your bed and maybe cars, but also for something else, so that there's actually a necessity to always gain more money, so that you can always buy more items or more resources, not items, but more of the resources that you need. And then I would add some sort of resources which are only accessible in certain areas, which is comparable to the brick factory or the cement station, where you get like these building materials.
Let's see what you have.
And that would be necessary to start producing some more advanced resources or items. I mean, I don't have like a special example for that right now, but I think you get what I mean. And if there's a necessity to produce these items to increase, for example, their value, which you then can use to do certain things with them, so it needs to be like a certain item which is always be necessary, like some consumables, for example, or which can be sold for a higher price so that you can make more money in return. And the why for that is that if there is resources which can't be achieved by everyone on the map all the time, there would be a attraction for players to maybe trade with other people. I mean, the only buyable or producible items in certain areas need to be also be buyable at the trader, because if they're solo players, they can't, like on the single player maps, they can't just produce them all by themselves, but it would add up a necessity to trade with other people, or a attraction, like I said. And that's the first thing. And the second thing is that a production thing which you need to do constantly, like all the time, because it's something that you consume all the time as well. It would add another task to SCUM. It shouldn't be something which takes up too much of your time, because it would be just seen as a hard thing to deal with all the time, but it could be something which you can do while you're in base cooking or harvesting or something like that, right? Which takes a bit of time, but not too much, and it shouldn't be too hard, but it should be worth doing, so that you can do it as a thing to do, like a task to do, and which also gives you a good output at the end, right? So the second thing I would change is the farming thing. First of all, in general, the food system, like not the system in your body and stuff, that's all great and cool, but the amount of food you can find in the open world. For example, if you go to Abandoned Bunker, you find a lot of food. So in my opinion, it's at the moment not exactly necessary to grow your own crops and shit, because you can just find enough food in the open world. But if they would lower the amount of food you can find and instead increase the amount of food you can produce by yourself, maybe, for example, also make it a bit easier with the weed removal and the pesticide and fertilization processes, because if it shouldn't feel like a punishment to do it, because it really takes a lot of time. But if you want to produce more, it shouldn't be also very like taking that long as it takes right now. But then add up a production system where you can produce maybe canned food and all that stuff, which you can already find in the game, but have the possibility to produce it. And for that, for example, one thing which you need for canned food is obviously a can, which can be one of the items which needs to be produced in the other production line for the normal resources and shit, or from normal resources and shit. And those two would add up to being able to produce like better food than just like some potatoes and stuff put into a normal dish. And also that thing which you should which you can produce is like more durable, which, I mean, it's obviously already in the game, but if it's lesser in the world and more in your own production, there would be a necessity or a attraction to produce it by yourself, so you can use it all the time, or maybe sell it to other people who don't want to produce the food, for example. And then there would also be a attraction to trade again with other people, right? So I think I'm talking a bit fast maybe here, and I'm not explaining exactly everything, but I hope you got what I mean, right? So in the third thing, which I think is very important, is talking about the chat system. Since we're playing a hyper-realistic game and we have a global chat and a team chat and all that stuff, they could actually use that, and instead of have it accessible for everyone all the time, they could introduce something like a phone system. I mean, we already have cell phones. Why not just make them usable and sell SIM cards at the trader, which need to be powered all the time with like money, not much, but like a little bit. And then over the phone have the chats accessible. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard to use it all the time, because people could just use Discord and shit, I know that. But I mean, we're trying to play a game, and all the necessary things for survival should be in the game. And to have people not only use Discord, it needs to be pretty easy to access these things. But then in-game you could, over the chat system like SMS or whatever, talk to other people themselves from other tribes, send them private messages to, for example, set up a trade for certain resources. And then also obviously have the global chat and all that shit. But also one more thing, since it's a cell phone, people can hack the cell phone, and maybe there can be something like a drone, like a hacking game. There can be a dude hacking the system, and then, for example, like in some private server, I seen something like a UAV drone where you can spot the other player's location in a certain sector for a small amount of time. Something like that would be pretty cool, because that would increase the amount of player interaction, because you can easily find people. But also you need to give other people the option, if they see that they get hacked on their cell phone, to turn it off so that it doesn't happen again, obviously. But in total, I think a communication system, since communication is one of the most important things about player interaction, obviously, having a thing like that in the game could be pretty helpful to boost the communication between people, especially from different tribes. And if there's a necessity to communicate, for example, some special resources which one tribe wants to acquire, or one squad, and another squad has, and they have too much of it, and then they want to sell because they need the money to, let's say, buy more items from the trader which are not accessible on the map, or they need food because they don't produce the food but they produce something else, then there would be a necessity to communicate. And with the phones you could actually communicate safe without like using global chat or going out of SCUM, which we don't want. We want to stay in SCUM, right? And then use Discord or something external. I mean, obviously people in a tribe, or if people want to actually talk to other people, they definitely gonna use Discord. We can't change that. But for like first interactions, a phone system, in my opinion, would be very, very cool. So I think that's it. Tell me your opinions. I think I still have a lot of more things to say, but that would probably, I don't know, be too much because I'm already talking too much and explaining not everything which I mean. And then I get confused by myself, but yeah. That's it for this one. Thank you for watching and bye bye.